Hello Broken Arrow, I'm Mark Fry, and I'm honored to be hosting a very special video segment brought to you by the City of Broken Arrow, where you get a chance to get to know your City Council members. And today we have Vice Mayor Scott Eudey joining us, and Scott, I've been looking forward to getting a chance to talk to you. I've known you for so long, and let's just get the one thing out of the way right away.
Yes, sir.
You look a little different than you used to.
Well, I have been on an interesting journey over the past year. If you watch older clips of the City Council, I am the portly man sitting on the right side of the dais.
He has literally lost a Backstreet Boy. Literally. Congratulations.
It's been an interesting journey. Thank you.
Yeah, and as someone who also went through a weight loss journey, and I know how hard it is and how much dedication it takes and commitment, and you're doing great.
Thank you.
You're doing great.
And that means a lot coming from you, because I know we've had similar journeys.
Yes, we've lost the equivalent of two Backstreet Boys,
right.
For sure. So, Scott, tell folks that may not know your background and your family. Just tell us a little bit about yourself on the personal side.
Sure. Well, I was born and raised in the Oklahoma Panhandle in Beaver County. In fact, I was born in one of the last few generations born in the Beaver Hospital, the little town in Beaver, and spent all my childhood there. I came out here in 1991 and fell in, well, actually I'd traveled here earlier than that, and I fell in love with the place because they had three things we don't have in western Oklahoma: water, trees, and hills. The first time I crossed Keystone Lake, I might as well have been crossing the Mississippi. It was this wide expanse of water. I'd never seen that much water at one place. So I just fell in love with the area. I came out here in 1991 to go to the University of Tulsa, where I earned my bachelor's degree. Then went to Dallas to go to law school at Southern Methodist University, but I just didn't feel Dallas. It wasn't. It was too big, I guess, for a small town boy. And this area is the right size, right. It's just perfect. And came back, but when I came back, my aunt, who had lived in Broken Arrow back in the late 70s, early 80s, said, "You need to live in Broken Arrow. If you can, live in Broken Arrow." And I thought, what's so great about Broken Arrow? And I came here and fell in love with this beautiful little town.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was before Rose District renovation. It was just such a special town. And took a job at a firm here, and have been at that firm for 22 years now.
So I know you're extremely proud of your two kiddos.
Yeah.
Tell the folks about them.
I have two amazing kids. They're both infinitely smarter than me, and which is terrifying and and I'm very proud of at the same time. But I have two great kids. I have an 18-year-old. He just graduated, and he's going to go to TCC in the fall. And this is how good a kid he is. I said, "Do you want to go to Dad's alma mater, TU?" And he said, "Well, maybe, but I'm not going to spend all that money."
Oh, can he talk to my daughter?
I'm telling you, I'm so proud of him. And so he's going to do that. He wants to study, I think, right now, he wants to study theology and apologetics. And he says, I said, "Are you wanting to be a minister? Because, they don't make any money." And I said, "Do you want to be a minister?" He said, "No, I want to get my PhD and teach people this stuff."
That's great.
And I thought, well, you can't argue with that. And,
No.
and so I'm very proud of him. He served on the U City Council this past year. He presented to the council the big idea, and I couldn't have been more proud.
Yeah.
No, he's an awesome kid. My 11-year-old girl, she starts her first year of middle school at Oliver Middle School
Big
this year. It is. It's a huge year. She's excited and terrified all at the same time. She's going to the big school.
Right.
But she is so smart, and she is the social butterfly. My son is very, very thoughtful, very reflective. She loves everybody. She never met a stranger. I don't know where she gets it.
I don't either. I can't imagine what.
but she is a great kid, and very smart, and she swims with Swim Tulsa, and I know someday Broken Arrow swim coach, you got a good one coming up. So she'll be wowing them for years to come, I'm sure.
You heard it here first.
Heard it here first. That's right. So I'm very proud of my kids, and couldn't be a more proud father.
Tell me why you decided to run for public office.
Well, when I started working at the firm here at the law firm here in town, one of the key factors that made that firm special, and that was a calling card of that firm, was community service. And so very early on, I got involved. I joined the Broken Arrow JCs. I did a bunch of things, but I started volunteering for the Rooster Days Committee for the Broken Arrow Chamber, and that was 1999. I think was the first year I did that, and I continued doing that until in 2006 or so I became the chair of that committee, and then continued to work on that through 2012. During that time, I also served on the board of the Broken Arrow Seniors and a whole number of other community areas, and so I came to realize that when you're asking a community to support you, to make sure your children have food on the table, to make sure you can make a living, it's important that you invest back in that community. And I learned that early on, and then continued that. So when an opportunity came for me to run, I felt a calling, if you will, or I just felt it was time to step up and take that service to the next level, so that I could hopefully impact Broken Arrow for many years to come in a positive way. And I hope and I believe that it has been positive.
Oh, I think it certainly has. You know, I've worked with you in various different situations
Right.
with Rooster Days, because I was a sucker who followed him as a Rooster Days chair.
And
what
you
was
survived.
I thinking? Yeah, that's where I lost all my hair. But
Mine was gone long before then, but yeah.
And then also, you've been such a great help to me with Arts OK, the Regional Arts Alliance of Broken Arrow. And,
I love serving on that group. I don't think people understand how important the arts and the arts, creative arts, whether it be music, whether it be art,
Visual
fine
art.
arts, visual arts. I don't think people understand how vital that is to the health of the community. If you go to any community in the United States that is healthy, that has educated population, that has people volunteering and all that, you look, they have a strong arts program of some kind. And so thank you for being willing to lead that, because you can't understate the importance of that to a community and its success.
Amen. I didn't even have to bribe him to get him to say that. So thank you very much
You
for
bet.
that little plug. What is something about you, whether it be a hidden talent or something you enjoy doing that the public may not know about you or be surprised to learn?
Well, for a number of years, and this is if you know me, it may not seem that odd, but most people would find it entertaining at least. I sang in a Southern Gospel Quartet. It was a group called the Tulsans. It had been formed in 1985. I started singing with them in, I want to say, 2003. And then when the fellow fellow by the name of Doyle McAllister, a Broken Arrow resident, when he retired from that group, it became the New Tulsans, and we continued to sing. I continued to sing with them for a number of years. I never dreamed I would do that, because I studied music at TU as part of my undergraduate degree, and I studied classical music,
Right.
and so, we were singing these arias and these amazing pieces with large orchestral things, the Messiah and Mozart Mass and all that, and then you go, and even in church now, I was used to the hymns where we sing, I sang the tenor part because,
Right.
That's what you did.
I sang the bass part.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and so then I'm singing Southern Gospel, and they called, and when they called and asked me to consider it, I said, well, they said, have you had any experiences? Well, I can read music pretty well, and I hear parts pretty well. And I said, well, there ain't much music in Southern Gospel. And I thought, well, this could be an interesting experience.
Yeah.
But it was, I enjoyed it for over 15 years. It was something that I really, really enjoyed. And it was a great way to, from a spiritual perspective, it's a great way to minister
Sure.
to people, but it's also a great way just to have fun.
Yeah.
And I had more fun doing that. So I love music. I tend to, in the arts world, I tend to lean towards the music world
Right.
side of things.
What was your favorite hymn or song that you did with the Tulsans?
Well, there were so many, but there was one called Amazing Grace.
I stumped him, ladies and
You
gentlemen.
did. My favorite hymn is probably "It Is Well With My
Yeah.
Soul." I love that. And late in the last few months, as we've worked through this pandemic situation, and as we've been challenged as a council, as a city, as a state, and as a country, as we've been challenged with how we deal with this, that song has come to mind a lot and has brought me great comfort. That's probably my favorite hymn, and we did sing that. We also did that old, it was a Bill Gaither song, but Elvis did it, and it was, He Touched Me.
Oh, yeah.
And I just...
Shackled by a heavy
That's
burden.
right. You get a nice quartet underlying that, and that is the perfect Southern gospel song.
Well, I tell you what, if the arts remain shut down for much longer in the pandemic, you and I may have to do a duet for fundraising to keep food on the fry table.
Well, they would do it. They would pay to hear you, and they'd pay to not hear me.
Oh,
but
no,
we'd
I
get
don't
there.
believe that. I don't believe that. But that's great. Sometime we should do a duet.
We should.
At
I
some
think it'd be
time.
fun.
Yeah, well, let's do that. Tell me, I know it may be hard to pinpoint exactly one thing you love about serving on the Broken Arrow City Council, but tell me, what do you love about the job?
There is so much. I think one of the bright spots, truly bright spots, is that we make decisions that impact 115,000 people. So when you have one of those people come to you and say, "Thank you," that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You don't do it for that. You do it because you love your community and you want to make it better. But when you have that, that's cool. I think, the rewarding things are, like today, I just came from a meeting where a business donated $2,500 to our police department for use with our canine program. I mean, the council establishes that. The council sets those budgets. The council sets the tone.
Right.
And I think to be a part of that is extremely rewarding. To see people downtown walking up and down the streets enjoying themselves and knowing that you got to play a part in that. To see areas of town that we've been working on to revitalize and improve. There's always more work to be done, but knowing that in at least a small way you got to play a part in seeing your town, your city improve, that is very rewarding and really why I think all of us continue to do what we do.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You talk about making decisions that shape the future that's coming. Some of those decisions, obviously, there are two sides on the table.
That's right.
You've got some folks who are passionate one way and some folks who are passionate the other way, and we've seen a lot of that play out lately during the course of this pandemic. But when it comes down to decision making, maybe on a topic or an item that definitely has some passion on both sides, just tell us a little bit about what your philosophy is on how you listen to people and how you make those tougher decisions.
Well, I know back and Councilor Parks, who I have the privilege of serving with, he talks about the days when people would call your home and light you up. Now they don't do that so much. I do get occasional calls, but it's mostly emails and people just and of course social media as it's developed. A lot of people feel very comfortable making their feelings known on Facebook and other avenues. I listen to that. I do my best, and I've probably failed a time or two, but I do my absolute best to respond to every email, everyone who reaches out to me. I try to respond and let them know that at minimum, I heard their voice, and I will consider that as part of my decision process. Now, at the end of the day, I have to look at what's best for all 115,000 residents of Broken Arrow, and sometimes that's very, very tough.
Sure.
I also have to look at what the law says. I think a lot of people say, well, you make the decisions in the town. Well, that's true, but we still have to make decisions within the confines of state and federal law. And sometimes state and federal law won't let me do what I want to do.
Right.
Or what someone wants me to do.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm always trying to craft what do we do that gets us, that we can do the best, to get us as close as we can. Not a lot of thought, a lot of prayer, a lot of consideration goes into every decision we make. I don't know any other way to do it. That's how I try to live my life.
Right.
I try to give every decision we make the due thought and due diligence it deserves, but at the end of the day, I try to do what's best for the entire city of Broken Arrow and go from there.
When you think about what the next 2 to 3 years hold for Broken Arrow in northeastern Oklahoma, what do you see specifically for Broken Arrow, the top 2 or 3 challenges that face us as we look and move forward?
Well, you know, back in February, this answer would have been a whole lot different.
Right.
I think, you know, cities in Oklahoma subsist and are operated solely on sales tax. Now, I say that if we have a utility service like Broken Arrow does, our water and trash utilities, there may be money made through the utilities. But you can't charge an unfair rate, and there's only so much the market will allow you to charge. And frankly, I don't want to overcharge people for those. It needs to be a fair rate. So everything else we do is essentially based on sales tax. And as you watch things happening with the pandemic, and as you watch shopping behaviors and patterns change, that will be a challenge that every city, but especially Broken Arrow, will have to face. As eating out and going to the store and how we shop changes, we're going to have to adapt to that, and I see that challenge. Another challenge is in order to remain the safest city in the state of Oklahoma, and we routinely are held that, we're going to have to look at funding sources so that we can maintain and grow our fire and police departments to continue to offer that service, and that's going to be a challenge that won't go away. It ties back to funding sources, but it is what it is, and there is no one who hates taxes more than me, especially when I write that check every quarter.
Yeah.
But at the local level, I've always believed that the government that governs closest to the people governs best. And I've always felt that city and county governments are the best suited to govern the best to the people that need to be governed. And because we understand what they need. Because of that, at the local level, while we still have to be good stewards, that's where your money stretches the furthest. That's where you get the greatest reward for your investment in the community. And Broken Arrow's always been willing to invest in itself. I hope that continues, because that's where I see our biggest challenges are as we go forward. We also, you know, there's parts of town that are aging, that require extra attention, and I believe this council's up to that task. I have certainly done everything I know to do to address those areas and continue to do that. I could list them by name, but everyone else who's watching this already has. But you look at areas like Elm in New Orleans, or 101st and Elm, and we've recently rebranded that as New Orleans Square. You look at those areas, and I serve on that committee. That is going to be a challenge for several years to come as we recraft that, as we reboot that area, and as we refashion it. Areas that were built out with anticipation of growth based on earlier and older retail markets, that's changing.
Yeah.
So the areas will have to change with it. Plans aren't quite turning out the way we wanted them to. But we, and me personally, I believe we can get there. May not happen the same way we anticipated and all that, but I believe we can get there. But those are certainly challenges that face us. And as we grow, those challenges don't shrink, they just become bigger.
That's right.
But a city that's not growing is dying. So we must grow, but we have to rise to the occasion to address it.
Now, another challenge in the next year or two is if you keep losing weight at the rate you're going,
I may disappear.
you just be a bobblehead.
Well, I think I'm finished. You know, and this is one of the I serve with great people on the council, and one of our other councilors had a health issue, and it got me thinking.
Yeah.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be in a place where I couldn't survive a surgery that he did because of my health. I'm still a relatively young man. I'm in my late 40s. I want to be able to say I'm still a relatively young man when I'm in my late 80s, you know.
Right.
And you only get that way by living healthily. I'm not sure if that's a word, but let's pretend it is for this.
We'll say it is.
Yeah. And so I think I reached a point where I just needed to do that. And hopefully I get to serve for many years to come, and I continue to have the honor and privilege to serve this community, and hopefully the lifestyle changes I made will allow me to do so much happier, in a much happier way, and in a much healthier way, and for longer.
Yeah, we can just work you harder and harder now that you're healthy. I like that. That's a good...
Well, perhaps I need to rethink that. But
yeah, you
anyway.
might want to. Well, I certainly do appreciate everything that you do for the city of Broken Arrow, for
Gracious
all
for
the different organizations that you serve on. And you want to sing? I mean,
No,
when peace. No? Okay, we'll do it another time.
I mean, I'm always game to sing, but I would like to rehearse at least once so that I'm not completely embarrassing myself.
Fair enough. Fair enough. On episode 2 of Get to Know Your City Council, we'll have a song.
And the problem is, Mark is so good that there's too many ways I can embarrass myself with proceeding on. So thank you very much.
No. Well, thanks again for your time today, and
thank you.
Thanks for watching. And just a reminder that we have all of these segments available as individual segments on social media so that you can get to know your individual city council members. For the City of Broken Arrow, I'm Mark Fry. Thanks for watching, everyone.